Hello. Welcome to the thrilling conclusion of Laura Lexx Writes Your Book 2022. Um, Listen, I'm so sorry for what's about to happen. But I wanted to say that for the first time ever, it really isn't my fault because it, Tom wrote the last two chapters and wrote the options for what happened in the vote, and then you guys did the vote. So I don't want to spoil anything because that's not how storytelling is good, is it? But I relinquish responsibility for what's about to happen. Uh, um, Also, it's mad. It's absolutely mad. We have been thinking, though, because obviously this is the end of this book writing experiment, but we will do another one next year, probably starting February, March time. And we have been thinking that maybe it would be fun to, when the options are and you get to vote, maybe one of the options is always hidden, that Tom writes the chapter and you don't know which ones you're answering. Voting for, or we could get guest authors in to write a chapter occasionally and really throw a spanner in the works, because I didn't plan it, but it was actually quite fun having a chapter written I hadn't seen before we wrote it. So hey, that might become a feature of future book clubs. But for now, I mean, I sort of don't want to start reading the chapter because I know exactly how mad at me you're all going to get. And I don't want that for myself. I've had a very long day. I started recording at 4 p.m. I'm still sitting in this chair, looking at a fresh loaf of bread. I thought I'll have that for dinner between a couple of the records. It's not happened. I've done a Lexx education and a quiz for a Lexx education that we did months ago that I'd forgotten everything about. Then we've done 2 recordings for the Patreon for National Treasures, and then a National Treasures live stream. And now we're here doing this. So my head is a mess of trying to talk out loud in an entertaining way. And I had to stick to the vote, guys. I had to stick to the vote. And I just want you to know how much this is your fault, yours and Tom's. So you think about what you've done. You dreadful people. Oh no, you're all terribly sad that the dog might die. Hey, the dog might be fine. It might just be other people that die. I can improvise it as I go along. I'm not Tom. I'm not an improviser. He's the improviser of the relationship. So, yeah, Art says we all know it's Tom. Exactly. It is all Tom. So we're going into the final chapter, and I will tell you what you could have voted for at the end. I'm having a little chocolate Baileys, a little festive. I've got one more day of work. I've got to edit one more podcast and do a day of work tomorrow. And then when I get home from Leighton Buzzard tomorrow evening, I am on my Christmas holidays for a whole week. I'm having a little chocolate Baileys, just 'tis the season to have a snifter. Ben says, I'm not being gaslit. This is all Laura's fault. Absolutely not, Ben. And I will take away your badge. Do you have a badge? I don't know. I'll take it away. Right. The final chapter. So we left them, just to remind you where we left them last week. Viv's got a buzzsaw in the cave, in the quarry. And she's trying to get the data off the chip. And Leah's on loan now. Harry's gone off to get help in the car. So let's see, shall we? The final chapter. Oh, Alex says we will go on strike on the next book. Just me writing a book by myself with no votes. No. Okay. Leah could feel her pulse throbbing in her right hand. The hand that still clutched the locket hard between her fingers and palm. Oh yeah, because that's right. Your vote was, what does she use to try and stop them? Is it a book, the locket, or words? Oh, there's chat about a book club badge. Yeah, I could have a think about a book club badge. Remind me in January and I'll have a think about trying to make a book club badge. My brain has not got space for any more things right now, but well, we could have a think about that. All right. Right. So Leah could feel her pulse throbbing hard in her right hand, the hand that still clutched the locket hard between her fingers and palm. Yes, that's right. You voted locket. She was trembling and sweating, but her right hand felt odd, like it was pulsating. Was that just the feeling of her heart pumping blood hard around her veins due to the adrenaline from the chase? Or, or was it something else? No, no, that was absurd. She blinked and stared at Viv, trying to think quickly, but wondering if there was a speed quick enough to think at that would save her dog. The buzzsaw whined, and Viv was adjusting the restraints on Florence to make sure she stayed still as the saw whined towards the trembling spaniel. Oh God, I hate this. It's the least festive. Why are we in a cave in a quarry? It was a nice story about a librarian, and then I went away for a week, and it's fucking this. I can't believe you killed Paul as well. That's what sent this book down the wrong way. We could have been doing a magical thing about a witch in a cave, and no, now we're bloody here. Right. Just stay still, you, Viv muttered, pulling the metal clasp tighter at the end of the leather strap. Wait, Viv! Leah yelled desperately. Viv barely flicked her eyes in Leah's direction. What? You're standing in the way of progress for the sake of one dog, Leah. Think about the bigger picture. Leah tried to keep her talking while she worked out what to do. Her hand was practically vibrating now as it gripped the locket. A numb, buzzing power seemed to be extending from the desperately clenched fingers up through her wrist and forearm. She flexed her elbow and felt a zinging feeling rippling through her skin. Pins and needles or magic? No, it couldn't be. It was just a necklace from a gift shop. But was her hand glowing? No. Leah tried to shake away these thoughts and focus on the reality. It must be the light from the headlights shining through her pale skin. But, uh, but, Leah tried to desperately to think of a convincing argument to keep Viv from deploying the saw. But we only just rescued her. Viv stepped back from the saw, cocking her head to one side and looking at Leah. Leah felt her right hand twitch up. Had that worked? Fucking grow up, Leah, Viv spat. So one dog needs to die, but in exchange, the arthritic life she gives will not only save humanity, but all animals on the planet. In her chip is the answer to food distribution, the climate crisis, and how to manage the egos of those who inherit wealth and equate that to personal accomplishment. We can literally save the world, and all we have to do is ask Florence to make the ultimate sacrifice. Leah shifted her weight from foot to foot. Viv was much better at this than her. What if Viv was right? What if there are so many plot holes? Don't discuss the plot holes, okay? Because bloody hell. What if Viv was on the cusp of saving the world and Leah was looking too closely? Her hand pulsed and roared as she squeezed the locket and the metal dug into her palm. But it came to her in a flash of light. But surely the chip can come out much easier than needing to kill her. Or all we need is a little scalpel, and we can remove it and save not only humanity and every animal on the planet, but also Florence, here today. Air roared in Leah's ears. Yes, Raven, you and Leah are on a very different wavelength there. Can't it be removed humanely? Exactly. I don't have a scalpel. I have a buzzsaw and very little patience. Viv hit a button and the buzzsaw roared into life again. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, cheesy chips. I love cheesy chips. I might have chips for dinner. No! Leah screamed and leapt forward, instinct taking over. She held out her right hand with a straight arm in front of her, pushing the emerald out and into the direct line of sight of Viv. She felt her body swelling with energy and confidence. The witch of the water lay still in her tears, collecting the power of the lost over years. I call on these spirits buried here in this rock to rise up and bind you. I command you, the emerald in the locket, I think, probably. I rise up and bind you. I command you to stop. The words tumbled out of her, over her lips and into the humid air. Her voice reverberated off the walls of the cave, and she saw Florence pin her ears back as the words rumbled around. Um, there was a silence as Viv hesitated and removed her fingers from the saw button. What the hell was that? She said, looking around to see if Leah's outburst was going to lead to anything more. It was. Leah felt creeping humiliation burn up her hairline. She looked at the cheap souvenir in her hand and wondered what had overcome her. There were deep ridges in her skin where she had clutched it so tightly. Of course, it had just been pins and needles, and the lights from the 4x4, and fear. Of course, it wasn't magic. It was nothing. Viv started to lower the saw. Leah blinked away her useless tears. Perhaps the locket wasn't magic, and neither was she, but it could still save Florence. She flung the locket towards the saw and watched as the chain caught in the teeth of the saw. There was a loud, harsh, metallic snarling sound, and then the saw burst through the chain, sending cheap links scattering across the cave floor. You are really driving me mad. Viv slammed the saw off again. Do you not get it? I'm trying to save humanity here and extract a chip with more information on it than is contained in the entire internet. I don't know, I'm so out of my depth trying to write stuff like this. There's loads of stuff on there, and you're throwing me off. Now, I need to concentrate, or I could put the saw in the wrong place and ruin the chip and kill the dog. Nobody wants that, Leah. Why don't you get it? I can't stand by while you kill her, Leah wailed. You literally only just got her. She might as well be a rat in an alley. Don't say that. I love her. You're soft. That's your problem, moping about over your boyfriend picking you up from work. Remember that? Remember that plot point? That was chapter 1. That was the biggest issue in your life. You're a small town girl with small town imagination. We're from the same town, Leah cried. Yes, but I'm going places, and I'm taking Taunton's reputation with me. There'll be statues in my honor. It'll be the center of the known universe. You watch. Not if I can help it. I won't let you kill her, Leah screamed, spit flying from her mouth. You can't help it, and you don't have to let me. Tension building drink break. Bum, bum, bum. Was listening to a bit of Led Zepp, and then your notification popped. Oh, okay. Well, it's weird here. Maybe don't stay, Lit G53. You've missed a lot. I don't even know how to explain the plot to the people that have watched every chapter. So, or stay. Do you want to listen to the last third of the final chapter of a thing? Anyway, Viv's just a Taunton Elon Musk, says Ben. Okay, well, here we go. Leah threw herself towards Viv, Florence, and the saw. She barreled into Viv's chest, but Viv masterfully swung Leah around by the arm, pulled her body into a hold, and bent her over the table. That's in there for the fans of the blue. Pulled her body into a hold and bent her over the table with one arm, while the other reached for the button and released the saw to slice cleanly through Leah's spinal cord. Leah went limp immediately as blood spurted up over Viv's face. You killed Leah, guys. You killed Leah. She's dead now. She's dead in a cave. It was all your fault. I had nothing to do with it except for writing it, but she's had her neck severed now. She's not coming back from that, is she? Especially not with the wait for an ambulance at the moment. You won't get one. What are we doing with our lives, eh? This is lovely, though, isn't it? Isn't it the most fun? So Leah's dead. Viv pushed the body to one side and straightened up. Oh, literally, we've kept you. I'm now listening. No idea what's going on, but yeah, I love this. It's bananas. So basically, what's happened is these guys have killed a person. We've been writing a story based on votes week by week, and this is where we've got to. You can hear the conclusion now, and then go back and listen to the other ones, and it won't make any more sense. But welcome to the club. It's mad. Okay, so Viv pushed the body up to one side, and I'm not blaming this murder on the nurses strike, absolutely not. The nurses should be on strike. I'm blaming this murder on systematic Tory underfunding of what should be the absolute crowning jewel on planet Earth, aka the NHS. Absolutely. Viv pushed the body to one side. We've got a health minister that literally wrote a book about privatizing the NHS, and yet still there he is in charge of it. Makes my blood boil. But anyway, Viv pushed the body to one side and straightened up. I knew she oh, hang on, Viv's West Country, isn't it? I knew she was stupid when she couldn't get alphabetical order right. I didn't realise she was that stupid. Florence whimpered on the table. Oh, God. I'm so sorry, little furry angel, Viv whispered, lining the saw up and then pausing to administer a strong painkiller so that Florence wouldn't feel a thing. It was only right. That's Laura's edition. Um, You're saving the world, little dog, she said as she stroked Florence's soft ears, Leah's blood dripping off her nose. Dewey's data is the key to saving us and all your family. Sleep tight. Look, don't get mad at me in the comments, please, because I did my best. I put the anesthetic in, actually. She skillfully aimed the saw down onto the sleeping dog and opened a cut. The dog's breathing slowed and stopped. And Viv dug mucky fingers into the hole and retrieved the small chip. Viv beamed. Here it is, she whispered. The future. Prologue. Okay. So just, yeah, maybe I do need to divorce Tom. I don't know. Prologue. Viv took the stand to rapturous applause and gripped the gold medal tightly, holding it up as cameras flashed and sparkled around the auditorium. The assembled audience stood and cheered. The applause was thunderous and kept coming in wave after wave, for minute after long, loud minute. Eventually, people began to retake their seats, and Viv swallowed her nerves and cleared her throat. I have many people to thank for getting me here. Ending world hunger, bringing about eternal peace, and solving the climate crisis by reversing carbon emissions and inventing a completely carbon neutral fossil fuel system was not something I did alone. My ancestors, the Dewey family, were some of the smartest people who ever lived. But the world likes to pigeonhole. And after they released their library sorting system, no one ever listened to them again. And when they brought idea after idea for solving the world's issues, but you're the library people, they said over and over again, failing to see the bigger picture. But now we live in a time where, even though some people still think small, it is possible to get a message out. But it doesn't come without sacrifice. She bent down and patted the dog by her side. I've seen memes. This is so stupid. I've seen the memes about my robot dog, Florence. I've seen people say it's because I'm mad or lonely or barren. But it's to remind me of the things we lost along the way. She sneaked a look at a man in an expensive tuxedo in the front row. The man nodded and smiled sadly back. It was a smile that said the millions she had paid him didn't make up for what he had lost, but that he understood. Progress doesn't come without losses, but this medal is, I realise now I haven't written this anywhere, but it's the Nobel Prize that she's won, all of them. But this medal is for everyone willing to make the difficult decisions along the way. Merry Christmas, because the Nobel Prize is at Christmas now as well for the purposes of this chapter. The cheering began again, and she stepped back from the podium. Florence, the robot dog, staying to heel, as she had been coded to do. And they made their way to the parking lot to spend another Christmas together, just the three of them in their camper van. So there you go. There you go, everyone. That was the thrilling conclusion to what might be the weirdest story ever. So I just want to clarify, by the way. Yeah, Ben says, can I say that I'm not in favor of letting Tom help with future books? I mean, it was weird, wasn't it? It was an odd ending. So look, just to show you that we weren't trying to kill the dog, you had three options for the final chapter. If you chose Locket, Leah had to attempt to cast a spell with the magical locket, but it doesn't work. Spells aren't a thing. And I said to Tom, when I added this all up on Sunday, I said to Tom, oh my God, they've gone for the locket. And his face fell. He was like, but I thought I made it so clear the locket wasn't a thing. I can't believe that locket's one of the vote. Don't do it. You can just change it if you like. And I was like, rules is rules. We have to do it this way. Leah attempts to cast a spell with the magic locket. It doesn't work. Spells aren't a thing. Leah tries throwing the locket and eventually just runs forward. Viv tries to explain, but Leah rushes in, ends up dying via buzzsaw. As Leah dies, Viv apologizes and then kills Florence. Prologue, Viv receives the Nobel Peace Prize thanks to her work uncovering the lost secrets of Melville Dewey. She talks of sacrifice and thanks Leah, who died in a tragic caving accident. So I added the anesthetic and the robot dog actually as a way that you all wouldn't hate me and that Florence could sort of survive somehow. But your other options, so if you chosen book, Leah would fight by throwing various books at Viv. And she does at least one amazing book pun as the final kill line, but possibly loads, Tom said. Viv dies and Florence is saved. So there we go. Would have saved the dog there. Prologue, Leah, Harry and Florence a year later on another campervan holiday. They never did find out what the Dewey treasure was, but they know real treasure is love and a nice dog. So that's what we were looking for, really. So if you voted book, well done. You got the best option. If you'd voted words, Leah emerges and tries to reason with Viv. Viv explains in an epic villain monologue her complex and interwoven backstory about how she is the daughter of Godfrey Dewey's illegitimate son Herman and that the data is her birthright. It holds the secrets to sorting, storing, and sharing wealth. In the right hands, it could do so much good for the world. Leah convinces Viv not to kill the dog and that they'll figure out a way to get the data off together. They research together for some time. Just when they figure it out, the Welsh police we met earlier arrive with Harry, misread the situation, and shoot Viv. Prologue. Leah and Harry are multi-millionaires and live a jet-set lifestyle, but Florence has a small scar from the chip being removed. So in both other scenarios, the dog survived. I don't know how you found the one where she didn't. But there you go. I mean, in this version, at least the world won, because in the others, there wasn't a Nobel Prize, so they hadn't passed the knowledge on to the world. So in some ways, you did the greater good, but I feel like your preference would always be any dog that ends up in the story. Mackie, can you come over here and prove that you are alive, please, pig? Because people on the internet are worried that I'm a monster. Mac! Come here. Come on. Come and be. That's it. Try not to look like a robot so that they believe that it's really you. Ooh, come here. Good girl. Hello, my baby. There she is. You see? She's alive and kicking and real. Mackie, are you a robot? 1-0. Woof, no. Oh, my baby. So there you go. Thank you so much for coming to Book Club 2022. I love Book Club. It's one of my favorite things. It's probably one of the things I'm most proud of in my career. That my career might not be the biggest, most successful, shiniest, wealthiest thing on planet Earth, but I really feel like I attract the nicest people, and that on my quieter days makes me incredibly happy. So thank you very much for coming. When I did this in the lockdown, I sometimes asked for donations at the end, because at the time I was obviously struggling for money with the lockdown being on. That's not the case now. I'm back to work and everything's super dandy. But if you've had a nice time and 11 weeks of entertainment is something you can afford to sort of put some money in, could you choose a charity of your choice? Maybe the Trussell Trust. I can never say that. Or Sarcoma Charity, or the Bristol and Western Hospitals Trust, which is I'm a patron of that charity, and it goes to putting good stuff for patients in wards for hospitals in the Bristol and Western area. If you could do, yeah, maybe the RSPCA. Good one, Chris. Yeah, that might be a good shout given where that story went. But if you could make a donation in the name of Book Club, if you can afford it, and obviously if your finances need to stay at home to support your loved ones, I completely understand. That's absolutely fine. But that would be much appreciated, so that Book Club can radiate out a little bit of love outside of our little corner of the internet. And we will be doing it again in the new year. I love it. So I'll try and keep my Tuesdays free, and we can get it on the go, maybe with the twist of guest authors every now and again. But for now, thank you so much for keeping me company every Tuesday. You are just the loveliest bunch of people, and it makes me so happy how well you all get on and whatnot nonsense. And I'm so sorry I killed the dog, but with an anesthetic, and I made a robot. So, and it wasn't my decision. It was not my decision. So anyway, me and Real Dog are going to go, and maybe you guys could be guest authors. Have you ever wanted to write one of these chapters? You could do it. Why not? So we will see what we can do next year. But thank you so much. Well, don't lick the microphone, you dork. That's not kind, is it? What are you licking that for? Is it stinky? Oh, you're the cutest. Anyway, have a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And I will see you all in the new year. Take care of yourselves. Love you very, very much. Bye-bye.